Molly, are you home today? Hello, Tracy. I'm just planning to go shopping later in the evening, but for the rest of the day, I will mostly be at home. Why, is there something you need? Great! In that case, I'll drop Kat off at your front door. She's a little bit sleepy right now, so you can just take her to your bed and put her to sleep there. Please take care of her for me, okay? Wait, what? What exactly are you talking about? You're bringing her to my house? Oh, I'm heading out with my boyfriend right now. Boyfriend? Yeah, I found this amazing guy on a dating app a little while ago. He's totally my type, so I decided to match with him. And guess what? We've been chatting, and now we're finally going on a date. Wait a second, you're seriously leaving Kat with someone else just so you can go on a date? Don't worry about it. Kat's not picky at all when it comes to food, so just give her whatever you've got. Anyway, thanks. I'll leave the rest to you. Wait, hold on a second. You can't just drop this on me out of nowhere. I mean, Kat's already sitting by my front door, but at least tell me when you'll be back. I need to know how long I'm supposed to take care of her. Tracy? Tracy, are you even listening to me? Molly, thanks so much for taking care of Kat today. You're a lifesaver. I'll ask you again sometime soon, okay? As I mentioned earlier, you can't leave her with me until this late. It's really inconvenient. Oh, come on, don't be like that. You have no idea how hard it is being a single mom. I've got so much to deal with already, and I've even cut ties with my family. I don't have anyone else to rely on, you know. You, on the other hand, don't have any kids, so this isn't a big deal for you, right? Actually, I'm pregnant right now. Wait, what? Really? Yes. I'm guessing you didn't notice because my belly hasn't started showing yet, but I've been struggling with morning sickness, especially nausea from the smell of food. Even though I'm not feeling well, I had to prepare meals for Kat, keep an eye on her while she was running around the house, and somehow managed to lie down whenever I could before my husband came home. It was an incredibly exhausting day. But you still managed to take care of her, didn't you? I had to push myself way beyond my limits to do that. Please, I'm begging you, don't ever ask me to do this again. I'm at a critical stage in my pregnancy right now, and I really can't handle the extra stress. Ugh, fine, whatever. Tracy, you dropped Kat off at my front door again, haven't you? I already told you that I am not taking care of her anymore. Please stop doing this, especially while I'm bedridden with morning sickness. Tracy, I can see that you've read my messages. If you don't stop this nonsense, I'm going to report you to Child Services. Oh, come on. Today I'm going on a day trip with my boyfriend. Excuse me? This is the perfect chance for you to step up as Kat's exclusive babysitter. Exclusive babysitter? I never agreed to such a thing. But look at it this way. Taking care of Kat is giving you valuable experience in parenting, don't you think? I'm dealing with severe morning sickness, and I can barely manage my own day-to-day life as it is. Please, I am begging you, stop putting this on me. Oh, stop being so uptight. It's not good for the baby if you're all stressed out, you know. Who do you think is causing me this stress in the first place? I'll be back tonight. I'm telling you, this is a huge problem for me. Well, I want to enjoy some quality time with my boyfriend, so I'm turning off my phone now. Tracy! Hey, don't you dare hang up on me! Hey, Molly. Thanks so much for looking after Kat. I came to pick her up, but is she not home?
Are you Kat's mother?
Well, I thought it was obvious, didn't I?
I'm David, Molly's husband.
What? So you're telling me you're her husband?
Yes, sorry for contacting you from my wife's phone. She's currently in the hospital.
Oh no, what happened?
Well, your cat was running around in my house, and in doing so, she knocked over a ceramic vase.
Oh my, she's so full of energy.
Just as Kat was about to be hit by the falling vase, my wife jumped in to protect her, but the vase hit my wife's shoulder as it came down.
Oh my, that's terrible.
Thankfully, it was only a bruise and the baby's all right, but my wife has been mentally quite shaken up, so she'll need to stay in the hospital for a while.
So, what about Kat?
Kat was splashed with some of the vase's water, but she wasn't injured at all.
Oh, you really gave me a scare there. I'm just so glad Kat is okay.
Tracy.
What?
My wife got hurt protecting your daughter, you know.
Yeah, I guess that's what happened.
Do you have anything to say about that?
Oh, well, I guess your wife did a good job as Kat's personal sitter, right?
What are you talking about?
Well, when your wife wasn't around, you must have been the one looking after Kat, right? Where is she now? You should bring her here quickly.
Well, Kat isn't with us anymore.
What?
It seems like you don't really understand what's going on, so let me explain everything clearly from the beginning.
What's going on?
Earlier today, when the vase fell, there was a loud noise, and neighbors heard Kat crying, so they called the police.
The police?
Yes, the neighbors told the police that you left Kat at our door without permission.
What? But your wife is supposed to be Kat's personal sitter, isn't she?
That's something you just assumed on your own.
I'm her mother, and I said that she's the sitter, so that's how it is.
Can we please stick to the actual topic here?
What? There's more?
Yes, there is.
Fine.
After hearing from the neighbors and my wife, the police contacted Child Protective Services.
Wait, what's that? Your wife was talking about it too, but I had no idea what she meant.
Child Protective Services, or CPS, is a department that deals with situations where children are in unsafe environments.
What?
Well, things have progressed since then. Your ex-husband is planning to take Kat back to his family's house.
What? Why didn't anyone tell me? I'm her mother. I should have been the first to know.
Apparently they tried calling you but couldn't reach you.
That's because your wife kept calling nonstop, making my phone ring constantly, so I turned it off. She could have just called the hotel where I was staying.
But you didn't let anyone know where you were staying, did you?
Well, if I didn't do that, no one would have watched Kat, even the so-called personal sitter.
Are you gonna keep repeating that? Anyway, my wife's in the hospital, and once she's discharged, we'll send her back to her family to prepare for childbirth.
What? That's ridiculous.
If you want to pick up Kat, you need to talk to your ex-husband.
That's impossible.
Why?
His family is over 3 hours away by plane. I've already spent a lot of money on this trip, and now I can't even afford the travel expenses to pick up Kat.
I see. That sounds really tough.
What's with this I'm just an outsider attitude?
Well, I'm not really in a position to get involved.
Oh, you're so slow to figure things out.
Excuse me?
You exchanged contact details with my ex-husband, right? Why don't you just contact him and tell him to bring Kat here?
Why don't you contact him yourself?
I deleted his number, so I don't have it anymore.
Well, if you know where his family lives, why don't you just go there and pick her up?
Well, then give me the money for the travel expenses.
I'm not responsible for paying that.
Then you go pick her up yourself and take responsibility for it.
I have no responsibility for that either.
What is your problem? I'm not responsible. I'm not responsible. You useless person.
It's really not my fault. I already talked to my wife about it.
Oh, finally? You should have done that from the start. So, will you bring Kat here?
We won't return her to you under any circumstances.
What?
We're planning to fight for custody.
What are you talking about?
My wife and I have decided not to have anything more to do with you, so we'll be leaving now.
Wait, your wife is Kat's personal sitter. That's abandonment. That's neglect. You need to take responsibility for everything up until the very end. Are you even listening to me?
Oh, I'm listening. Trust me, I'm listening. I just don't care about what you're saying anymore.
What? How can you say that?
You've already caused enough problems. My wife is dealing with this issue, not you. And now Kat's well-being is in the hands of the courts.
The courts? What does that even mean?
It means that you've been an irresponsible parent and now you're throwing a tantrum because things aren't going your way?
I'm not throwing a tantrum. You have no right to speak to me like that.
I have every right. You don't get to dictate what happens with Kat anymore.
This is insane. You think you can just take her from me without any consequences?
It's too late for you to do anything about it. Kat's future is already being decided, and you have no say.
I'll make sure you regret this. I'll fight you until the very end.
Go ahead, you won't get far.
This isn't over. I'm going to make sure you pay for what you've done.
Goodbye, Tracy.
Wait, just one more thing. I will make sure you regret everything you've done.
I'm sure you'll try, but you're too late to change anything now.
You've taken everything from me. I won't let this go. You'll see.
If you think I'm afraid of your threats, you're wrong. I've been through worse.
You're just heartless. You don't care about Kat at all.
Of course I don't care about her. She was neither my wife's or my child to begin with.
You can't just walk away from your responsibilities. I'll fight you in court, and I'll win. Mark my words, David. You'll regret this.
Goodbye, Tracy. When I was messaging with Tracy, I had no idea how much my perception of the situation was about to change. We had been talking casually about everyday things when suddenly I realized something that struck me. Tracy's ex-husband, who had come to pick up their daughter Kat, was sitting right next to her. This moment was one of those subtle yet profound realizations, like a shift in perspective that made everything seem a little more complicated. It turned out that Tracy and her ex-husband had only divorced 3 months ago. The details of their breakup weren't something Tracy had shared much with me, but it wasn't hard to sense the tension and sadness lingering between them. It seemed like they were still adjusting to this new dynamic, but they were clearly trying to handle it for Kat's sake. However, the moment took a much more emotional turn when Tracy's ex-husband began to visibly tremble after hearing about Kat's current situation. Tears welled up in his eyes, and I could see the pain he was feeling in that moment. He had always been a bit reserved when it came to his emotions, so this sudden vulnerability caught me off guard. He said in a voice thick with emotion, "I will definitely get custody." It wasn't just a statement, it was a vow, a promise to himself, and perhaps a reflection of his deep love for his daughter. Then, to my surprise, he bowed deeply to my wife and me in gratitude and humility before taking Kat with him. They left together, headed back to his parents' house, which was quite far away. The weight of the moment lingered in the air, and I could only imagine what Kat was going through as she left with her father. A few days passed, and my wife and I anxiously awaited news about what would happen next. We had been so worried about Kat's well-being, unsure of what the future would hold for her after everything she'd experienced. Her life had been turned upside down by her parents' divorce, and we couldn't help but wonder how she was processing all of it. But then we received the message we had been hoping for. Tracy's ex-husband had successfully gained custody of Kat. My wife and I both breathed a sigh of relief. It felt like a weight had been lifted from our shoulders, and there was a flicker of hope that things might finally settle down for Kat. We were glad to hear that she'd now be in a more stable environment with her father, far away from the uncertainty and turmoil of the past months. But as relieved as we were for Kat, Tracy's life was spiraling in a completely different direction. It seemed that she had kept a significant secret from her boyfriend, the fact that she had a child. I hadn't known about this until later, but when her boyfriend found out, he was understandably shocked. The revelation had a dramatic effect on their relationship. He cut off all communication with Tracy, leaving her stunned and devastated. From what I gathered, he wasn't sure how to handle the situation and ultimately chose to walk away, leaving Tracy with no one to lean on. This kind of rejection, especially from someone she'd relied on for emotional support, must have been incredibly painful for her. Not only had she lost her marriage, but now she was facing the harsh reality of losing someone who could have been a pillar in her life. Tracy must have felt completely abandoned, and I could only imagine the emotional toll it was taking on her. As if that weren't enough, I soon learned that Tracy was no longer allowed to see Kat. The custody arrangements had been finalized, and it was clear that her ex-husband had decided to keep Kat away from her for the time being. The reasons for this weren't entirely clear to me, but it seemed like a decision made with the intention of giving Kat a stable, quiet environment away from any further emotional upheaval. Tracy, having already been through the devastating loss of her marriage, now had to face the painful reality of not being able to see her own daughter. I can only imagine how it must have felt for her, a mother being denied the right to be with her child. It was a situation that seemed so unfair, and I couldn't help but feel for Tracy as she navigated this heartbreak. One day, a few days ago, I unexpectedly ran into Tracy at the station. When I saw her, I barely recognized her. She had changed so much in such a short time. She had clearly lost weight, and her once lively and confident demeanor was now replaced by an air of exhaustion and distress. Her face seemed hollow, and her eyes had a faraway look in them, as if she were lost in her own thoughts. She stood there alone, looking down at the ground, her mind seemingly elsewhere. I couldn't bring myself to approach her immediately. I didn't want to intrude, but at the same time I felt an overwhelming sense of sympathy for her. I had known her as a confident and energetic woman, but now she looked like someone who had been broken down by the weight of her circumstances. At first I wasn't sure if I should say anything to her. She seemed so distant and preoccupied, and I didn't want to make things worse. But then she looked up and saw me. She gave a faint, almost absent smile, one that didn't quite reach her eyes. It was a smile that spoke of someone trying to mask their true feelings, but failing to do so. She looked like she wanted to say something, but before she could, she turned and quickly walked away. It was as if she had already made up her mind to shut herself off from the world, to protect herself from any further disappointment or hurt. Her departure left me with a sense of finality, as if Tracy had already resigned herself to the circumstances of her life. She had endured so much in the past few months: the divorce, the loss of her daughter, and the breakup with her boyfriend, and now it seemed like she was withdrawing into herself, perhaps to shield herself from further pain. It's clear that Tracy is going through an incredibly tough time. The weight of her divorce, the separation from her daughter, and the loss of the person she had relied on emotionally, all of it must be overwhelming. It's hard to imagine the kind of emotional toll it's taking on her, but I hope that in time she will find a way to heal and rebuild her life. The road ahead may be long, but it's not impossible. As for Kat, I hope she thrives in her new life with her father, and that she finds the love and support she needs to grow and heal. This situation has been difficult for everyone involved, but sometimes the hardest part is just taking the first step toward healing. Tracy may not see it now, but eventually she'll have the strength to rise from this. Everyone deserves a chance to start over. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button. See you next time.